Tools we're going to need: 8mm, 10mm deep socket for the T-clamps, 12mm, a little wiggle socket for the T-clamp. It's going to help you out. An inspection mirror helps out, something to cut off the old inlet, an LED light, some WD-40, needle nose pliers, and some long screwdrivers. Some flat blades will help you out even better. Just the inlet close up. It's really nice quality. There's a nice stainless CNC. This fitting's grafted along with the blow-off bypass valve no matter what you're running. We've got CNC fittings for here. They come in a little bag that is somewhere, and it's also 5-ply, it looks like, which is really nice. And this is going to aid in installation, because on the Godspeed you have to use a clamp here and another clamp to clamp what this is. This is your bypass hose. So this is going to go onto here. This is going to snake under your throttle body, under your intercooler, and that's where your bypass valve or your blow-off valve, if you're running the recirc blow-off valve, blah 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 blah. So you know how that goes. That's what it's going to look like in the car. All Mishimoto. Fits perfect. So I'm really happy about that. And then we'll see how this fits in the car. It looks great. We should have no problems here. This looks like it's a really well-made, well-fitting piece. It's got the bend here for the power steering hose. That becomes a problem, and should be all right. First thing you want to do, always disconnect your battery cable so there's no problems. You want to take this duct off, and you want to take this cover for the belts off as well. There's one 10mm and another 10mm here. So you have a nut and a bolt, and there's a little rubber. You can't see it right now, but you have to pull it up this way, because right there, we'll swing that back where there's a rubber grommet. There's a little pin here, as you can see. So that pin needs to be placed back in correctly like that before the 210s go back in. So just pull it up from left to right, and then you can pull it off this guy right there. So if this were the old inlet, the stock inlet, you're going to have to take something like a straight hacksaw, and you're going to have to hack off these while they're in the car under the inlet. And that's how, when you undo the Torx 40 here, you can then begin to pull this out. Now we have the Godspeed in, so it's going to come out very easily. So in no particular order, you can start taking all the hoses off. We'll tell you what each one means. Okay, first connection is your boost solenoid. This goes to the solenoid right here. It's clipped in here. You need to remove that. We'll remove the old spigot first. And then I had a little clamp on there. We're probably going to remove that too, because that's going to go in the new one. For now, we'll just put this aside. It's a pretty flexible hose. I wouldn't go crazy with it, but you know, just be gentle. The next one here is going to be your purge valve. I had to get a new one of these because I actually cracked the old one messing with it. So you want to pull that out carefully from the inlet, and you can pull it out from the intake itself, and you can pull it out from the T down here. If you look, there's a little blue T down in there. That's for your purge valve. Next one's the crankcase ventilation. This is the one that went across your intercooler. It's clipped in here, and you can kind of just pull up on that. And good. We'll take the spigot out with it as well. Perfect. Now coming up inside, we're going to go through here. We're going to go with the inlet first, and then I can pull up on that. That's my PCV itself. So we're going to put that aside. Now if you had the stock inlet in, let's go over this piece. Up on this branch right here, you had a connector. This was the connector. It held a hose on both sides, and it originally held, which I have the spigot in right now, I'll take that out, but it held this in like this, and then this went down and branched into the inlet itself. Or it was like this. Yep. So what this does, this is a PCV diagnostic. So if this were to be unclipped in any way, you can see there's a small metal piece in here, if you can see it. All that does is communicate with this harness right here and tells the ECU that the PCV system here is hooked up. So that's all this does. So what a lot of people do is they snake this back over in here, and they like to zip tie it somewhere over here out of the way. Next two are for your bypass hose. That goes from here, snakes under. I had two hose clamps on, so what you could do is just undo that, and then you can pull the hose out. This is a really nice, really flexible hose. We might be replacing it with Mishimoto's hose, which is really good quality. It's not as flexible. I mean, it is kind of, so it won't lose its shape, but we'll just see if it fits in there well first. As we do that, we take our hose clamp out here. Now, the problem with this inlet too is that you have to have two hose clamps, one here and then one on the spigot itself, and I don't like that. And on this one, it's really nice because it's grafted in there. That's great. Now just keep working it slowly. You could even go from behind here and try and force some of the rubber out this way, and then just kind of tilt it down that way, and it'll clear everything here. And it should pop right under there and out. And there's the old inlet. You're going to have to figure out a way to get at these connections for the PCV, the blow-off, and the PCV connection in the car. The purge solenoid and the boost solenoid shouldn't be too much of a problem, but I had to hack this to get it past the steering line. This is going to be a Torx 40, and this is what attaches it to the intake manifold.